Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Ijomo Obizoba, and I currently serve as the chapter president of the Student National Medical Association here at the University of Maryland School of Medicine. On behalf of the general body of SNMA, I would like to welcome you all to the 2022 SNMA Annual Senior Banquet, Resilience in the Face of Adversity. We are extremely delighted to have you join us this evening as we celebrate our graduating seniors and our banquet honoree, Dr. Sandra Quezada. As many of you know, the Student National Medical Association, or SNMA, is the nation's oldest and largest independent student-run organization committed to supporting current and future underrepresented minority medical students, addressing the needs of underserved communities, and increasing the number of clinically excellent, culturally competent, and socially conscious physicians. Established in 1964 by students of Howard University School of Medicine and Meharry Medical College, and now with more than 7,000 members, SNMA proudly celebrates over 50 years of committed service to communities and continues to advocate for improved healthcare services and education to meet the needs of minorities and underserved populations. In addition to the SNMA widely promoted diversity in medical education and encourages the increased enrollment and retention of minority medical students. The University of Maryland chapter of SNMA has a long-standing history of commitment to the surrounding Baltimore community through our various service initiatives. In addition to our passion for community service, SNMA works tirelessly throughout the year to provide opportunities for underrepresented minority students to become future physicians and scientists. Through our Minority Association of Pre-Medical Students, also known as MAPS, Health Professional Recruitment of and Exposure Program, also known as HPREP, as well as our Youth Science Enrichment Program, SNMA members have served as mentors and role models for students from elementary school all the way through college, enhancing their exposure to the sciences and sparking their interest in various health professions. In addition to all of this, our members have also extended their leadership effort beyond SNMA. Despite the demands of medical school, many have held leadership positions in other student organizations and participated in committees such as the Admission Committee and the Student Diversity Council, pushing changes to be made to the medical curriculum in light of the most current enhances in racial violence in our country. Changes that will allow students at the University of Maryland School of Medicine to further develop into socially conscious and culturally sensitive physicians equipped to tackle these important issues. The success of this year's executive board is carrying out our mission to do in large part in the examples set by those who came before us. To the graduating class of 2022, throughout your time at SNMA, you have diligently served your community and have offered your wisdom and guidance to those who came after you. And through your display of excellence, whether it's in the classroom, hospital, or out in the community, or even in Zoom, you have inspired us all to reach new heights. As medical students, we have just recently embarked on the journey to medicine. We are honored to be amongst such talented graduating class and exemplary physicians like Dr. Quezada, who's demonstrated the reach of compassion and fortitude. We hope that you all enjoy this evening's program as we honor their numerous accomplishments and show our appreciation of their service. At this time, I would like to introduce Dr. Donna Parker. Dr. Parker is a Senior Associate Dean of Undergraduate Medical Education. She has been a longtime supporter of our chapter's efforts and continuously shows her commitment to fostering a diverse culture on campus. Please welcome Dr. Parker.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everybody. And thank you so much for having me. I'd like to offer my congratulations to the SNMA on another wonderfully productive year, despite all the ongoing barriers raised by the pandemic. Your work amplifies our efforts in education to create a welcoming, safe, and supportive environment for all of our students throughout their time at the School of Medicine. And that continuum of events includes things like the M1 White Coat Ceremony celebration, the Underrepresented in Medicine Faculty Mentorship Program, various panels to discuss important and sensitive topics around race, gender identity, and intersectionality. And working with key faculty to share tips on how to succeed in the clinical years. Our admissions office is always grateful for the chapter's efforts with helping to recruit so many wonderfully accomplished applicants to the University of Maryland School of Medicine. And I know that all of you will continue with this sort of generous work in support of your peers and the larger community as you progress through your training and into the practice of medicine. So truly, thank you again for all that you do and all the commitment that you show. I'd like to say to the graduating seniors, really best of luck to all of you with the next step in your careers. I know that you are well prepared to make that transition to residency, where you will undoubtedly provide leadership for your peers. You are smart, compassionate, and visionary people who can change the world for the better. So please stay connected and share with us here at the school all that you experience and all that you achieve in your careers. Thank you again, and I hope everybody enjoys the rest of the evening.
Thank you, Dr. Parker, for your kind words of encouragement. Hello, everyone. My name is Cheyenne Arthur, and I'm a first-year medical student currently serving as the co-vice president of our SNMA chapter at the University of Maryland. To our fourth years, I would like to emphasize the excitement we have for your success thus far and your future achievements as you embark on the next step of your journey in medicine. At this moment, I have the pleasure of introducing Dean E. Albert Reese. Born in Jamaica, Dr. Reese completed a Bachelor of Science degree with honors from Long Island University, a medical degree from New York University School of Medicine, and a PhD degree in biochemistry from the University of West Indies, Kingston, Jamaica, and an MBA degree from the Fox School of Medicine and Business Management at Temple University. He completed an internship and residency in obstetric and gynecology at Columbia University Medical Center and a postdoctoral fellowship in maternal fetal medicine at Yale University School of Medicine. Between 2001 and 2006, he served as Vice Chancellor of the University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences and Dean of the College of Medicine. In 2006, he was recruited by the University of Maryland. In 2010, Dr. Reese served as acting president of the University of Maryland, Baltimore, prior to Dr. Perman, and is currently the executive vice president of medical affairs, the John D. and Akiko K. Bowers Distinguished Professor, and the Dean of the School of Medicine. He is also a professor in the departments of obstetrics and gynecology, medicine, biochemistry, and molecular biology as well. We will now be playing a video address from Dr. Dean Reese.
Hello, everyone. I'm terribly sorry for the audio. Hopefully you can hear it now.
Ryan, and thank you for your very kind introduction. And thank you to the University of Maryland School of Medicine Student National Medical Association for inviting me to join you in today's virtual celebration. This is indeed a celebration which I'm honored and in fact delighted to be part of. Today we salute and celebrate the outstanding efforts of the Student National Medical Association, and we recognize this year's SNMA honoree. It gives me great pleasure to congratulate everyone joining us today for your many successes, particularly seniors whose graduation is very quickly approaching. The theme of this evening could not be more appropriate for times, and that is resilience in the face of adversity. These past 2.5 years have been among the most challenging any one of us have ever seen. I'm so proud of how the School of Medicine, and in particular, our students, you have actually responded to this very, very difficult time. Despite the many obstacles presented by this global pandemic, You have continued to care for each other, the underserved and the underrepresented. Your dedication truly encapsulates what the country needs from its future physicians and scientists. We have modeled many of the School of Medicine's values, and you have likewise portrayed that as well. From leadership and diversity to respect, social and public health responsibility, you have indeed exceeded the expectations of your peers and your mentors. As Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, and I quote, "An individual has not started living until he can rise above the narrow confines of his individualistic concerns to the broader concerns of all humanity," unquote. A successful medical career requires that kind, empathy, and compassion are attributes that one demonstrates. And you have shown that in spades. I believe most of you have learned these skills at an early age, but I hope that the School of Medicine has reinforced these lessons, and you have been able to model it and to demonstrate it in your daily lives. I applaud you for adopting a vision beyond yourselves and for using your talents and resources for the greater good of humanity. The SNMA has become known for producing strong leaders, and the resiliency that you have shown these past 2 years have proven your mettle. As the saying goes, tough times don't last. Tough people do. Congratulations. So to all of you, I say congratulations, especially to our graduating seniors. You have my appreciation for all that you have done through the Student National Medical Association, and my very best wishes to each of you for your continued success in all your endeavors. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dean Reese, for your kind words of encouragement. I now have the pleasure of introducing President Bruce E. Jarrell. Dr. Jarrell was born and raised in Carroll County on Maryland's Eastern Shore. He received his bachelor's degree in chemical engineering from the University of Delaware and his medical degree from Jefferson Medical College in Philadelphia. He completed a general surgery residency and renal transplantation fellowship at the Medical College of Virginia and held faculty positions at Jefferson, where he performed kidney and liver transplantation and hepatobiliary surgery for 10 years. He also served as a professor and chair of the Department of Surgery at the University of Arizona. Dr. Jarrell arrived at UMB in 1997 as chair of the University of Maryland School of Medicine, Department of Surgery. In 2003, he moved to the School of Medicine Dean's Office, where he served as the Executive Vice Dean, directing the school's education and research experiences. He became the Chief Academic and Research Officer and Senior Vice President in April of 2012. Dr. Jarrell was named Executive Vice President and Provost in December of 2017. Dr. Jarrell was elected as the 7th President of the University of Maryland, Baltimore on September 10th, 2020. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Jarrell.
Good evening, and thank you, Cheyenne, for that introduction, and to you and Vincent Brown and all the SNMA members who planned this banquet. I want to thank you for bringing it together, and thank you for inviting me. I think we should all take this opportunity to thank Dean Reese for his long service to the university and to the School of Medicine as well. He's obviously left a legacy of attracting fine students to this school, among them the many students on this virtual banquet tonight. He's attracted talented, passionate, and dedicated students. And of course, in the SNMA, that especially applies, particularly students who are not only focused on their own career path, but also who want to help others. I also want to thank Dr. Quezada. Thank you, Sandra, for your commitment for greater diversity among our medical student body, as well as fostering an inclusive environment for faculty, staff, and students at UMB. To the SNMA seniors, let me first step back for a minute and say, what do I think of when I think of SNMA? I think, of course, underrepresented students, of which you all are, but I also think of your commitment to sitting at a table in Lexington Market doing eye screening, hypertension screening, the many health fairs around the city, Of course, this was pre-COVID, but that'll fire up again, I have no doubt. I think of your activities in educating the community on health issues. I think of your involvement of the Cure Scholars, of the Community Engagement Center, and a number of other many activities. You are among, if not the highest, one of the most high student groups that are active in our community. And I just really want to tell you how important that is and how much I appreciate that effort on your behalf. I know you're here because you have the seniors are just about finished your education. And obviously you, with everyone, have shown incredible resilience to get through this pandemic. And it's not just been an issue of healthcare. You all know that. It's been a mental health issue as well. And that may be the lasting effect of this pandemic. So I hope that you all will lend a shoulder to each other, make sure that we all remain healthy, and yet continue our battle about inclusiveness, equity, and diversity in our school. One of the highlights of the SNMA has been public service, which I've just mentioned, and I know that you will have your continued commitment to health equity in our community. What I hope is that you have this not only when you're a student within the SNMA, but once you graduate. Think about this, you'll be resident soon, and think about the positive impact you can have on the many medical students that you will see as residents, as well as patients and the families and friends who love those patients. I applaud your commitment to excellence. Congratulations to those graduating members of the SNMA and all of those who are honored tonight. Congratulations and thank you. Cheyenne?
Thank you, Dr. Jarrell, for your inspiring words. My name's Laura. I'm a first-year medical student who's currently a volunteer coordinator for SNMA's executive board. And right now, I have the pleasure to introduce our banquet honoree, Dr. Sandra Quezada. So our selected honoree, Dr. Quezada, graduated from the University of Maryland School of Medicine. Afterwards, she completed her residency in internal medicine at the University of Maryland Medical Center, as well as the Baltimore VA Medical Center. She then finished her fellowship training in gastroenterology and hepatology at the University of Maryland Medical Center and has obtained a Master's of Science in not only human nutrition at the Columbia University of College of Physicians and Surgeons in New York, but as well as a Master's in Science in Clinical Research at the Department of Epidemiology and Public Health here at the University of Maryland. She currently serves as both the Associate Dean for Admissions, in addition to the Associate Dean for Faculty Diversity and Inclusion at the University of Maryland. Furthermore, she is an assistant professor as well as the course director for the Medical Spanish elective at the School of Medicine here. It may take me all night to list Dr. Quezada's awards, honors, her contributions and commitments in our community, but to just name a few, she is a member of the Alpha Omega Alpha Honor Medical Society. She has earned the Leonard Toe Humanism and Medical Award, and as well as the Dean's Alumni Award for Diversity Inclusion. Her gift for leadership has also been exemplified as she pioneered changes in the biased and race-based guidelines for chronic kidney disease diagnosis at the University of Maryland. She addressed the social and structural racism in medical practice here at our university and is promoting change throughout the system in the US. During her time at the university, Dr. Quezada has also dedicated countless hours to mentoring students at the Baltimore community, the Latin American Association, and at the School of Medicine. She frequently offers her time and expertise at humanistic and inclusion-focused meetings for medical students. Dr. Quezada receives endless praise from her colleagues and students, especially SNMA, for her dedication, benevolence, leadership, and tenacity to improve lives of others. It goes without saying, we are truly, truly honored to be able to hear from such a distinguished and eminent physician who garners respect and appreciation, not only from her colleagues and community, but also her patients. So without further ado, give a warm welcome to Dr. Sandra Quezada.
Good evening, everyone. I want to first start off by saying thank you so much to our amazing, wonderful students in the SNMA for this tremendous honor. I know that we have a lot of fantastic faculty at the School of Medicine who are doing tremendous work to support diversity, equity, and inclusion, and who are very deserving of this very award and recognition. So to be selected among that very prestigious group really truly is special. So thank you so much for that. I do have some slides that I'm going to share just to help make sure that I stay on time and on task, because I was asked to speak about the topic or the theme of this wonderful event, which is resilience in the face of adversity. And wow, what a timely topic that our students have chosen for us today. Certainly, we have unfortunately seen too many examples of truly life-changing adversity happening on a global scale. And at the same time, we've also seen truly amazing, tremendous examples of resilience, of the human capacity to adapt and to forge forward, even in the face of these challenges. So again, a tremendously timely topic, and I'm grateful to be able to discuss it today. I was asked to also share a little bit about how I got interested and engaged in the work of diversity, equity, and inclusion to begin with. And it actually started very early. There were a few real central moments, I would say, that have led me on this path. And I'll highlight a few of them. One was in elementary school. As an elementary school kid, I was someone who already loved math and science, and that was my jam. And I loved doing well in those classes, and it was fun for me. And one of my math teachers was in the habit of displaying on the board the names of the students who scored, I think, in the either top 5 or top 10 on a test. And I think that they felt this was maybe a way to motivate their students to do better and to maybe take pride in seeing their name up on the board there. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, my name was up there, not infrequently. And actually there was another kid in my class who we often ran sort of neck and neck with each other. And there was one time where I got the number 1 slot, he got the number 2 slot, and he came up to me and he said, he was frustrated. You could tell he was upset about it. And he said, "Why do you have to keep acting like a boy?" And I just asked, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Well, why do you have to keep trying to beat me and do better than me in math?" And so, of course, at first I was just like, I'm just doing the best that I can. But that statement really stuck with me. And even as an elementary school kid, and I think I was probably about 9 years old, maybe 10, I remembered thinking, why is doing well in math not acting like a girl? And I thought and I thought and thought. And even again, as a little kid, I decided, you know what? He's wrong. That's not fair. Girls can do anything they want. And I became energized. And I became a determined little girl who decided I was going to show people what we can do, or at least what I can do, and disprove some assumptions that people might have. I also was a girl who was born in the US of 2 parents who were immigrants. And there was a time when I mentioned that we had just come back from visiting my family in Chile. And another classmate asked me, "Oh, do they live in teepees there?" And I said, no, they live in apartments and houses just like here. And I remembered thinking like, oh, okay, well, this is an opportunity for me to teach this person who obviously doesn't know anything about this other country. But it also was my first encounter. Again, I was a young elementary school child at this point, of the realization that people had very different and unfounded opinions about the rest of the world. We did move to Chile when I turned 12, and I lived there for 3 years. And I learned so much. Living in another country, I learned so much about myself and about my own perspective, the perspective that I was taught to have in my classes even. And just in the world that was around me when I lived in the US, I suddenly became very appreciative of the notion that we are very US centric in our thinking, that we think that this country is the center of the whole world. And when you live in another country, you realize it's just another country. It's a big one and it has a big history, but so is the country maybe that you're living in outside of the US. It has its own history, has its own culture and perspective. And I think living in a different place where I found myself not only needing to, but wanting to understand new perspectives, the new cultural nuances of what is funny. How do you crack a joke here? Let alone just the language, which was its own challenge, but just all of these wonderful, interesting lessons to learn and skills to learn, and how to make human connection in different ways that were not what I had been taught before. Really was, I think, obviously extremely valuable, but also very eye-opening to me. And it really instilled in me this sense that there is no one perspective that can ever be the only perspective, that there will always be different and new perspective, and that collectively we can see so much more when we share those perspectives and when we open our minds and our hearts to learning of new ways to see things. So I really feel like those formative experiences very early in my life sort of set the stage, planted those seeds for me to ultimately become a person who is very equity-minded and focused, who celebrates diversity and wants us all to feel included and welcomed, and that we belong in the spaces where we are. I guess that's a side note. Suddenly, when I moved to Chile, I found myself in a place where everyone looked a lot like me, and I had never had that feeling before. And I'll admit, on the one hand, it kind of weirded me out a little because I was so not used to it. And I even thought like, I'm not special here. But it also, I couldn't deny that there was a sense of comfort, this ability to blend in and feel that by default I belonged on that level, at least, was something I had never experienced before. Let alone the fact that now I was in a place where my parents knew better how to navigate society, spoke the language fluently, all of the comforts that come with that. Having that experience, I think, was really interesting to be able to contrast with how we felt both before and after the move to Chile, and then when we moved back to the US. As far as my journey to medicine, I'll just share that it was not by any means straight and narrow or a yellow brick road. It was kind of rickety. There were definitely some gaps and probably some spaces where I could have fallen through and maybe not made it. We talk today about, applicants that have really come a long way to get to to a position where they can apply to medical school, that have overcome quite a lot of adversity and challenges to be able to get to that point. I never thought of it that way so deliberately, but in retrospect now, I appreciate the fact that while I was not someone who had sort of checked the disadvantaged box, I was aware of the fact that I did not have the advantages and privileges that some other applicants may have had, being someone who is first generation in this country, being someone who is first generation to go to college, and simply not having any connection personally to the field really was something that I was aware gave me maybe some additional challenges. But at the same time, I think that it also helped me to develop, again, some of those skills to be very proactive, to be very independent in many ways, and assuming responsibility and taking motivation to figure it out, to reach out, to ask for help, ask questions, and learn as you go. And again, I would have liked to avoid some of the missteps along the way, but at the same time, I really do feel that they enriched my experience. And certainly now, as a dean of admissions, the fact that, for example, I had to reapply to medical school, I think really does inform the way that I can guide applicants who maybe are going through that same challenge and think maybe that this might be the end of the road for them and that there is no path forward. So to shift the focus more on this topic specifically of resilience and thinking about, how do we define resilience? And one of the first definitions you might come across is really talking about objects, right? And it says, it's the capability of a strained body to recover its size and shape after deformation caused especially by compressive stress. Like this rubber band, that after it has been stretched and stretched, that it has that ability to recover its original shape and size and form that it had prior to that. Maybe it's okay for an object, but this is not a good definition for resilience for humans, right? For the context and the meaning that we give it, for our lived experience, I think this is a much better one, which is it's the ability to recover from setbacks, to adapt well to change, and to keep going, to keep moving forward, even in the face of adversity. So we are resilient when we can do those things, right? When we can come back from a setback and adapt, right? Recognize sometimes that we need to change, even as the world around us is changing. And that as that's happening, we're doing this because we want to continue to move forward in spite of the challenges and the adversity that we encounter. I think a lot about trees, actually, when I think about resilience. These big, beautiful, natural beings, things that have been around for so long, that have lived and survived through so many storms and winds and precipitation, downfalls, etc., and continue to grow, continue to exist. And so like those trees, I think that, when you look up resilience, you might find tons of lists out there with lots of different characteristics. And honestly, I think they're all great. I just picked these three that I think are really, really meaningful and resonated with me anyway. One of which is that the characteristic of a person that is truly resilient is one that remains grounded in reality, is centered in that groundedness around a core deep belief that life is meaningful, that it matters. And that belief will be sustained and buttressed by our core values, right? That hold this together. And also this uncanny ability to improvise. And if you think about the pandemic, I think that this kind of helps us put that into context. You think about the pandemic and how much we really had to be focused and grounded in what is really happening around us. What is the truth? What is the reality that we need to understand to be safe, to be protected, not only ourselves, but our loved ones and others, to be able to move forward, right? And think about how much, especially in those early, very uncertain and scary moments of the pandemic, how we had to hold fast and remember it. If anything, by obligation, it recalled us to focus on what really matters in life. What is the most meaningful, important things in our life? What are our values? What are those things that are essential, that have to move forward, that cannot go on pause, that must continue, and that we must be able to continue on with? And then again, the uncanny ability to improvise. Think about how much improvisation, how creative we had to be, how innovative we had to be in order to rethink new ways to do the things that we were doing, new possibilities and perspectives to be able to move forward and to be able to come out on the other side of multiple surges, but every time feeling better about how prepared we were for the next one. So even when these trees are blowing in the wind, it's not, again, the tree doesn't just resume its form exactly as it was before that. It will be changed by those winds, by that storm. There will be losses. And so to think that that is part of that experience, maybe in some cases, some of those leaves or branches, maybe were already close. Maybe it was their time to move on. And maybe some were taken too soon. But nonetheless, the tree continues to adapt. It uses that then to reshift its energy for new growth, for new opportunity moving forward. And trees don't have to exist alone, nor do we. We can be part of a forest, and we should be. We think about the circle, that network that you have around you of your support, right? Your friends, your loved ones, your colleagues, and how we lean on each other in those difficult moments, how we allow others to lean on us, and how in doing all of that, maybe we lighten the load a little bit. Maybe we soften the impact together to be able to withstand the storm. Something that's always been really helpful to me to think about is having what is often called a growth mindset. And to me, that is basically a perspective that when we encounter adversity or a problem, a challenge, that we really try to think of it as an opportunity to learn something new, to think through, what can I learn from this so that I come out of this even smarter, even better able to manage the next challenge, the next problem or adversity. The point is really not to snap back completely unchanged or pretend that we can be unscathed by adversity, but rather to really allow that process to shape us, to teach us something, so that we emerge on the other side of these challenges with new knowledge and new understanding, and maybe with a renewed sense of purpose as we move forward. And I think it's really important as you're doing all of this to be patient with ourselves, be flexible with ourselves, and to have a sense of humor. Give ourselves the permission to laugh, to smile, and to feel good when we can, right? To be happy and even find moments of joy in the midst of darkness and the midst of challenging times. Those opportunities, those little glimmers of light, that we let them shine through, right? When they do appear for us. I've always considered myself an optimist, but I never liked the way it was presented as if there were only a binary option, that you're either an optimist or you're a realist. And I always found that problematic because I was like, well, I can be very realistic and still be also optimistic. And I think that's the crux of it, the misinterpretation that optimism means that you only can see the positive, that you ignore or pretend that there is no negative, that there aren't adversity and challenges ahead. That's not, I think, what most of us are. And that's why I really loved it when I saw this recently, actually on Twitter by someone named Adam Grant. He coined this phrase of informed optimism. So this means you don't only look on the bright side, but that you just don't overlook the bright side, that you remember that there's always a bright side. There's always something positive, even in the midst of tremendous negativity, there can be something positive. So even with this, for example, solar eclipse, where it seems that there is no light, to remember that actually there is, there can be. And even when we use that eclipse example, it's important to remember, again, going back to perspective, right? It's all about perspective and positioning, where you are, and the information that you have to be able to develop that perspective will inform what you believe reality is. But then to always have that space, that room in your brain to remember that maybe there are broader perspectives that include more complete realities than even I can understand at this time. And here's actually a good example, very simple example that I saw in my own little patio in downtown Baltimore last summer. I was sitting in the patio and I see this little ant walking along, and the ant comes up against a branch on the ground and kind of stops, realizes it can't continue forward. The branch is in its way. It turns around and sort of kind of tries to come back again, stops again at the branch, and then just sort of says, turns around and heads back in the direction that it came from. And I was thinking to myself, what a shame, because if that ant had only realized that if it had just gone a little bit more to the side, it wasn't a big branch. It could have actually gone around the branch, and just on the other side of that branch, there was this nice pile of bird feed that some birds had knocked out of my bird feeder. And man, this ant would have hit the jackpot. And I really, again, it resonated with me. And it made me think about the times that I've come up against what seems to be a barrier, what seems to be maybe an insurmountable challenge, or even a wall that's blocking my path, that's not letting me go forward. And to think about, maybe I don't see it right now. Maybe I can't see it right now. But maybe if I step back and I either ask for help, I look around, I maybe navigate, maybe pivot a little bit to one side or the other, that I might realize that there is a way around what is in front of me, and to have the hope that the possibility that maybe what's on the other side of that is even better than I could have imagined. It wasn't even just moving along forward, but it might actually be a reward on the other side for navigating that challenge. Hopefully that ant, when he turned around, maybe went back to find some more friends that would then come back, and together they could all figure out how to get around that stick. So ultimately, I think we need to allow ourselves some time and some space and some grace to feel disappointed when we do sometimes need to feel that, right? Or sadness or anger, whatever those feelings are in that moment in the face of adversity. Give ourselves permission to experience those feelings, but also to pause and to reflect and explore why we're feeling that. Sometimes it's helpful to do that. It might help us remember that our feelings aren't really what defines us, but our values are, and to really recenter ourselves in what our values are and how those drive us forward. I think time is always important, to allow ourselves just the opportunity to heal, to restore and renew our focus. and eventually, when we're ready, to resume that path forward. And again, we do that now, not as we were before, but as we are now, with that new understanding, with that new knowledge, driven by our values, and allowing ourselves, again, the permission to feel gratitude, to feel joy, to let joy back in, and be happy and smile and laugh when we can. And when we do all those things, I think ultimately we are, again, better prepared for the next adversity that we may encounter. And ultimately we are hopeful and able to hold on to that so that we can continue to move forward, and not only for ourselves, but to bring others with us, that together we move forward and we make each other happier and more successful on our journeys together. So that's all I have. And once again, thank you to all of you for joining us this evening. Thank you to our wonderful students in the SNMA for all of the amazing work that you do through this excellent organization. And congratulations to our seniors who are graduating. You all are amazing, wonderful people who are going to be fantastic physicians. And I'm so excited, can't wait to see all the wonderful things you will do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Quezada. Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's enjoying themselves tonight. My name is Luisa Silva, and I am currently a first-year medical student serving as our chapter's political advocacy liaison. And this evening, I have the honor of presenting the SNMA Senior of the Year Award. This award historically goes to a graduating senior who has continued to show dedication to SNMA throughout their 4 years at the University of Maryland School of Medicine. Our award winner this year has continued to be a friend, mentor, and source of support for many members of SNMA. She was awarded the Charles Stewart Freshman Scholarship as an MS1 and served as our chapter's vice president for the 2019 to 2020 school year. She continues to be a constant resource and supporter of SNMA to this day, often working through her busy schedule to attend SNMA events, serving as a panelist, and assisting the subsequent SNMA e-boards. The 2022 SNMA Senior of the Year Award goes to Yasmin Latcher. Thank you for everything you've done for SNMA in these last 4 years. And at this time, you can feel free to unmute and say a few words if you'd like.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for this honor. It's been such a pleasure being a part of the SNMA family. And I would be remiss not to give due credit to, my boards and all the people that accompanied me on this journey. So thank you guys so much.
Congratulations, Yasmin, and thank you. My name is Otuto Nwawata, and I'm currently a first-year medical student serving as the HPrep coordinator. At this time, we would like to honor an exceptional Student Diversity Council member who has dedicated countless amounts of hours to marginalized communities. To show our appreciation, they will be presented with a certificate of honor in recognition of their dedication to excellence in leadership, advocacy, and service in Baltimore community. Congratulations, Bridgeline. Please feel free to unmute yourself and share a few words.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, SNMA, for hosting this wonderful event. I really appreciate all the support. I couldn't have done it without all my friends and mentors. And certainly Yasmin was a really great influence for me too, as a close friend. So thank you, everybody.
We are extremely proud of all of our seniors. Thank you, Roger. We're extremely proud of all our seniors and their accomplishments. We know it's been a very, very long road, and we congratulate them for their achievements as well as their residency matches at top institutions across the nation. We will now take a moment to recognize our senior class. Seniors, as you are called, please feel free to unmute and say a few words. Our first senior is Yasmin Latcher. She will be attending University of Pennsylvania for family medicine residency.
Yeah, feel free to visit me in Philly, or if you have any questions, let me know.
Our second senior is Mary Melati. She will be attending George Washington University for internal medicine residency, the primary care track.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for hosting this, and congratulations to all my seniors and everyone else. Like you'll soon be here. Reach out if you need any help, or if you're ever in DC, let me know.
Our third senior is Amanda Cohen. She'll be attending University of Maryland for neurology residency.
Hi, everyone. Since I'll be sticking around at Maryland, if anyone needs any help with anything or if there's anything I can do to support SNMA, please let me know. And congratulations to the new E board.
Our fourth senior is Saj Zatan. He will be attending University of Maryland for orthopedic surgery residency.
Hi, everyone. Sorry my camera isn't working, but SNMA has been great to me over the years. Again, if anyone needs any help with anything, I'm happy to help. I've learned to really pay it forward these past 4 years, so good luck to everybody else in the future. Thanks.
Thank you. Our fifth senior is Kayla Polaski. She will be attending Johns Hopkins University for obstetrics and gynecology residency. We would like to recognize the seniors who could not be in attendance this evening. Mary Ezran. She will be attending Thomas Jefferson University for family medicine residency. Leslie Gayu. She'll be attending George Washington University for emergency medicine residency. Malina Howard. She'll be attending North Carolina University Chapel Hill for family medicine residency. Meghana Patel. She'll be attending University of Colorado for internal medicine residency. Alexandra Batum. And that will be it. Thank you.
Dr. Parker, Dean Reese, Dr. Jarrell, and Dr. Quezada, thank you for your words this evening. I can speak for Benny when I say you are true role models. I am very fortunate to learn from you and see what we as students can become if we follow our passion and listen to our patients. To the University of Maryland School of Medicine faculty, physicians, and alumni, thank you for your continuous investment of time and resources to support the initiatives of our chapter. Thank you to our generous donors for their support in making this virtual event happen. We cannot quantify how much your support allows us to help others through our outreach programs, networking events, and in our educational and advocacy initiatives. Thank you to our faculty advisor, Dr. Kristen Rivas, for her indispensable guidance and support. Although the student leadership of SNMA changes each year, she has ensured that we always have the tools we need to succeed as a chapter. Seniors, thank you for guiding our steps, and showing us how to achieve academic excellence while still making community service and self-care a priority. A special thank you to all of our family and friends. We would not be sitting here today if it were not for your loving support and encouragement. To the 2022-2023 SNMA Executive Board, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude and appreciation to you. You have worked tirelessly throughout the year to carry out our various community service initiatives and pipeline protocols, and I owe the success of this banquet in this chapter to you. Thank you, Otuto and Janelle, for contacting faculty, Madeline and Maxwell for contacting the seniors, and Jasmine for contacting the students. Thank you, Binta and Samantha, for the beautiful gifts and certificates, Andreas for managing the funding and donations, and Jason and Louisa for the beautiful booklet. Thank you, Joshua and Laura, for the amazing award and scholarship organization. And thank you, Vincent, for making this live stream format possible and handling all the technical aspects of this event. And last but not least, thank you to our chapter president, Ijoma, for overseeing the entire event. And a very special thank you to the former co-vice presidents, Kaila and Sarah, for helping organize and plan this year's senior banquet. This officially concludes the 2022-2023 SNMA Senior Banquet. Congratulations again to Dr. Quezada and to our graduating seniors. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, everyone. This was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. This is great.